Yes, I just made a Netflix thriller documentary about a fork. Why? I don't know, I got bored or something. Now, if you haven't seen it yet, I suggest that you go back and watch that video first. There'll be a link in the description or a title card right somewhere up there. So go ahead and watch that video first. But if you want to find out exactly how I made that video, then stick around for this video, because I am breaking down all of the shots and exactly why I did what I did to make that video. With all that out of the way, here is how I made a Netflix-style documentary about a fork. There were 2 key elements to this video. Well, 3. 1 is the interview footage, 2 is the B-roll, and 3 is the editing. Talking about the interview first, here is how I went from this really poorly lit shot to this professional looking interview shot. The first thing I did was placement, where I wanted to put the camera and where I wanted to put the interviewee for this video. Now, the first thing I did was go to the corner of the room and set up the camera there with the interviewer, or me, right in front of the camera. The reason why I did that is because there was more distance from one corner of the room to the other corner of the room, rather than from one side of the room to the other side of the room. And the reason why I want more distance in between the subject and the background is because you want more of a blurry background. That's what looks more professional. So first you want to start off with the key light. Now, I've talked before about good lighting tips and why you want to have a key light. However, for those of you who don't know, the key light is one main light that you put in front of the subject, usually about 45 degrees off to one side. The reason why I say 45 degrees is because if you do that correctly, then you should see a triangle on the other side of the face. This is called Rembrandt lighting. If you look up any basic interview, then you should see something that resembles a triangle, and that's usually how you know you have good lighting. Now, I only have one light, that light right there, so that's the light that I ended up using. Now, if you have more lights, you can put another light off to the other side of it to light that face. However, because I didn't have another light, there was a wall on the other side, which some light was bouncing off onto that side, so it wasn't just shadow compared to the light, it was light and then the light bouncing off of the wall, providing some light to that side, so it wasn't completely dark. So here's the shot before I added any lights. It looks bad. And then here's the shot after I added the key light. It looks better. After that, you want to add practicals. Now, I have talked about practicals in another video, you should go watch that video too. However, for those of you who want a quick explanation, practicals are lights that you put in the background of your videos to add light to the background, or else it would just be dark. For instance, in this video, practicals are this light right here, this light right here, and also this light, because it's putting light on these guitars. All of this makes this more interesting, or else that would all be dark and then it would just be me. So for practicals in this interview footage, because the light that I used was around 5600 Kelvin or daylight, I wanted lights that were more orange to help separate me from the background. If I was going to be lit with daylight, I wanted the background to be lit with more of an orange light. You don't have to do that, but that was just a creative choice. I actually used this exact lamp in the background, however that wasn't enough lighting. Here's what it looked like with just the lamp, so I ended up adding this extra lamp. I don't think you can see the lamp because I was directly behind it. However, I used the lamp to put some light on the clothes, and that ended up looking really good. So now I'm well lit, and then the background is also pretty well lit, which meant that there was a good even balance. I didn't get there right away though. I had to move the lights around a bunch and figure out what looked the best. And eventually I put them in the right place, and I kind of just knew that I liked how that looked. Last step for lighting the interview shot is the hair light. Now, quick disclaimer, I don't think you can see the hair light at all. The hair light is basically a light that you put behind your subject that puts light on the shoulder and the hair, which basically separates you from the background even more. Now, I tried to do this, however, the lights that I had were not meant to be used that way, so you really couldn't see a difference. Here's a shot without the hair light, and then here's the exact same shot but with the hair light, and I don't think you could see a difference, but it's the thought that counts. Next is B-roll footage. This is so you don't have to cut to this face every single time. The B-roll for this video was actually really simple. I talk about getting out of bed, I throw some haze in the room, and then I get out of bed. Sometimes you have to be more creative, like using stock photos or stock video. However, for this, it was really simple, and that's kind of what I liked about it. I would say the hardest part about lighting the video would be the fact that I only have one light. This one. The interview was fine because I wanted more of a dramatic feel, so I could have one light right here and then a shadow on this side. However, for some of the other shots later on, it would have been much more easier to light if I had more light. But I didn't, so I had to make do with what I had. The reason why the B-roll was so hard to film with just one light is because I didn't want to use ceiling lights. I've talked about this before, however, ceiling lights give really harsh shadows under the eyes, and it also doesn't look professional if they're all different colors, and unfortunately my ceiling lights not only put harsh shadows, but they're all kind of different colors, and that just doesn't look good. Here's an example of what this would have looked like if I had filmed it with the ceiling lights, and as you can see, it's not at all professional. So what it ended up having to do is turn off almost all the ceiling lights, aside from some of them that match the color of the one light that I use, and then use that light and kind of strategically position it in a good place where the shots look well lit. Eventually you kind of figure out where you can put the light and where you can't, and it gets faster. However, to start off with, I was very confused and I didn't know how to do it. So it took a little bit to figure out kind of where I should put the light. Now, off topic, kind of, I will say, the absolute hardest part about this entire video was getting hit in the face with a wooden bat. For someone who has filmed more fight scenes than I can count, this was really hard. I don't know how to angle the shot where it looked like I was actually getting hit by a bat. Either I reacted too early and you could tell I wasn't getting hit by a bat, or I went in too close and Ruby actually hit me with a bat. That happened. All I can say is I'm glad we went for the small wooden bat instead of the big metal bat, which she suggested for some reason. We must have redone the shot like 10 times before I finally found one that I liked. However, eventually I did find one that I liked and we were able to move on. I think my biggest advice for those kind of situations is if you're not sure if you have a shot, look it over again and just make sure you have at least one shot that you like. Because the worst thing is when you go to sit down to edit a video and you realize you don't have a good shot, and then you can either reshoot it or you just have to make do with what you have. So luckily, once I got a shot that I was pretty happy with, we were able to move on. Now the last step is editing, which is honestly just as important as the actual filming part. The reason why I say that is because if you have a shot that was filmed really badly, however a great editor, then you can turn that into something kind of good. However, if you have a shot that was filmed fantastically, but a terrible editor, then that's not gonna look good. All that to say, editing is important. Now I didn't record the editing process of this video, mainly because I just didn't think about it. So if you do want a breakdown on how I edit my videos, these type videos, or even my short films, then let me know in the comment section below. And honestly, if I get even just one comment asking me to do a video on it, then I will probably do it. So go ahead and do that if you want me to. To roughly summarize how I edit my videos, start off by putting them all in the timeline order and do a basic cut through. Basically getting the timing right, but not adding any extra details. After that, you want to go through again and refine it. This is adding all the extra details to your clip that you need to do, however, that are too nitpicky to do the first time. After you do all of that, then you should be pretty much done. Obviously, a 15-second summary of how to edit your video is not a good full video. So again, if you want me to do that, then let me know in the comment section below, and maybe my next video would be on how to edit. However, that'll have to do for this video. Now, if you do all of that stuff, then you should get a video that looks something like this. I remember the whole thing like it was yesterday. I think maybe because it was. I had just woken up